When you are feeling like a failure, remember that it's not just either or. It's not either you're successful or you're a failure. There is a broad spectrum of successes in between those two extremes. So if you think of success not as just one measure, then you can have lots of successes in that broad, wide spectrum. That's why it's a good idea to check in. Who are you comparing yourself to when you feel like a failure? Are you, for instance, comparing yourself to someone who has been 20 years longer in the game than you and you just started out? Or are you comparing yourself to someone who is in a totally different business? Or who are you comparing yourself to? Because the only person you should compare yourself to is yesterday's yourself, last year's version of yourself, and see how much progress you made. And maybe you took 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but you learned from every step. So every step forward is one success on this spectrum. That's why it also makes sense to sometimes define 3-tiered goals. So you don't just define one high goal, but you define a minimum goal, a good goal, and an outstanding goal. And so you open up a wide spectrum, and then you can see where you end up on that spectrum. You might meet the minimum, you might make the good goal, you might exceed the good goal but not reach the outstanding goal, you might exceed the minimum but not reach the good, or whatever. But whatever it is, you reached a goal and you had success on that spectrum, and you can learn from what worked, what didn't work, and compare it against your goal, and then take the next step towards the good goal or the outstanding goal or whatever it may be. So whenever you feel like a failure, remember, it's not either you're successful or you are a failure. There's a wide spectrum of possible successes, and you should celebrate every step forward, every small success as a success, and every learning experience as a success. That way, you won't ever again feel like a failure. You will always feel like a learner who has lots of successes to celebrate.